know where you are at all times. They can know where you. Check this out. In the year 2026, people are starting to figure out that everything is a double meaning. And these big companies like BlackRock that owns Pfizer that's giving out all these vaccines has to put in a double meaning to everything. And what do we see here? Lucifer. And today the entire internet is freaking out because they just found out that if a employee at Pfizer gives out a million vaccines, they get this award, which is the Eye of Horus around the sun, the cornea of the sun, symbolizing that they see everything and they know everything that's going on. Does that mean that they are actually putting in like nanobots into the vaccines, which are keeping track of every single person in the world, so they know where you are at all times? They can use like a satellite or like we know satellites aren't actually out there, but they're like have a balloon on them and they're keeping track of everyone. You guys don't know, but these people, you're like, oh, it's the Freemasons. They're the bad guys. They're the ones they're using the all-seeing eye. But those are there's two different Freemasons. There's the real ones, there's the fake ones. And the real ones know that the all-seeing eye actually symbolizing the pituitary gland and the pineal gland in the center of the brain, which acts as the third eye. You can see more with it. And the ancient Egyptians knew that. That's why they call it the Eye of Horus. But the bad guys who try to control everybody, they just see it as the all-seeing eye, where you can keep track of everyone, because everything is physical for them. They have to keep track of what everybody is doing in the entire world, because they need to know what they're up to so that they don't fight back. So that is probably the real reason why they get this award, because they know that they're keeping track of every single person who gets these vaccines, and they know what is put inside of them and how.
Yeah, so basically it sounds like fugitive vibes. Keeping a track on everybody. Because one thing about these wicked elites is, they do have the power and they want to control and be like gods and can control everyone. But also they're fugitives, so you can also imagine that they're paranoid. There's a fear. There's a you know what I'm saying, because if they were doing if what they were doing were righteous, there would be no reason to move a certain kind of way. You wouldn't have to watch your back and be constantly monitoring, because part of that monitoring is that they're scared, man. It tell you in the Revelation that great fear fell upon them when they saw the dry bones stand on their feet, roughly paraphrasing that, right? But anyway, I want to begin this lesson giving all praise, glory, and honor that's due to Yahweh Hashem, Yahweh Shabbat, Hashem Kodash. Give double honors to the apostles, elders, and bishops of Great Millstone. The men that taught me the 100% truth according to the scriptures. And peace, mercy, and grace, and blessings be upon the household of faith, the election. And I just want to talk about these because, it's funny, like he said, until 2026, people are waking up and being able to point out these things, because who would have known that Pfizer writing, if you break it down like that, it goes into Lucifer, right? Which Lucifer just means light bearer. It's nothing mystical about it, but they do worship Satan on the left hand side, and they do, believe themselves to be the bearers of light. So when you go to Isaiah, Isaiah 14:12, it says, "How art thou fallen, O from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations?" Now, this isn't talking about Satan falling from heaven. All right, that's a fable. All right, the spiritual demon Satan works for the Most High. He's obedient to the Most High, and he does the Most High's will. Okay, he's a left-handed angel. Verse 13, "For thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of God. I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High." Yeah, and this is what they're doing with all this surveillance and tracking and monitoring and all seeing eye, wanting to see everything and surveil. In the next step, they want to surveil you under the skin. They want to be like the Most High. The Most High is really the one who has all surveillance, all eyes everywhere, because this is his earth in which he made, and this is his footstool. And Esau is trying like hell to get out of prophecy, because prophecy is on his ass, which the prophecy says in the last days he would be revealed. There would be an inquisition made upon him, right? So you go to 1 Thessalonians, or actually 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, and this whole chapter deals with Esau, the man of lawlessness, right? 2 Thessalonians 2 and 8. We'll start at 7. It says, we'll start at 6. And now ye know what withholdeth. Let's get this in the NLT. See what this say. All right. The title says events prior to the Lord's coming. And that's where we at. 2 Thessalonians 2 and 6. It says, and you know what is holding him back, for he can be revealed only when his time comes. For this lawlessness is already at work secretly, and it will remain secret until the one who is holding it back steps out of the way. Yeah, how about Shimon Shai holds back? He held back the revelations of Esau, Edom, and these these enchantments and these things that's been right in front of us all our lives that we never saw and paid attention to until now. Verse 8 says, then the man of lawlessness, right? Lawlessness is sin. The man of sin will be revealed. The man of transgression, the man of rebellion against God, right? It says, but the Lord Yahushua will slay him with the breath of his mouth and destroy him by the splendor of his coming. And what is the breath of his mouth going to? The word that comes out of his mouth, which is prophecy. And he's being slayed now by prophecy, by the scriptures. The scriptures coming to pass is what's taking him down. Now, I mentioned that Revelation 11. Verse 11, it says, but after 3.5 days, God breathed life into them. Right, breath, life, speaking, the mouth, and they stood up. Terror struck all who were staring at them, and it's really them staring at us. It's them that's paying attention to this, because they watching us. You see what I'm saying? They ain't worried about the average person. The average person is oblivious to anything going on. But you have the prophets who have the testimony, and that's why the scripture said that there would be an inquisition made upon him on these last days, because of testimony now. The elect are testifying, they're witnessing, speaking out. And that's why they want to take away speech. They don't want you speaking out. They don't want you saying things. They want you remembering what they want you to remember and speaking on what they want you to speak on when they want you to. 2 Ezra 6 and verse 18 it says, and it said, behold, the days come that I will begin to draw nigh and to visit them that dwell upon the earth, and will begin to make inquisition of them what they be that have hurt unjustly with their unrighteousness, and when the affliction of Zion shall be fulfilled. Yep. And the Edomites have been straight unjust, man. If there's not a just bone in their bodies, they're wicked. It's all hell, man. All they do is hurt, offend, injure, steal, And that's synonymous with the affliction of Zion, because we will be given unto them in the last days. When the Lord comes back, we're going to be under the hand of the Edomites, the man of sin, in his possession. We're going to be found in his possession. Verse 20, and when the world that shall begin to vanish away shall be finished, then will I show these tokens. The book shall be opened before the firmament, and they shall see all together. Yeah, man. And the truth is out. The scriptures are speaking. The understanding is here of the scriptures. And false prophets are being found out, and the true men of the Lord, the real prophets, are being found true. So, yeah, man, I just wanted to go into this. I saw that, and I thought that was an interesting observation, because I was wondering, like, what is that shit? What is Pfizer? Let's look it up. Pfizer was founded in 1849. It's Charles Pfizer and company by Charles Pfizer. Medicine, see, pharmacy. That's what comes to mind when I look at this image. Pharmacy, pharmakeia, witchcraft. Pfizer is one of the world's largest research-based pharmaceutical and biomedical companies. Again, pharmaceutical. Pharmacy is the Greek word pharmakeia, which is Greek for witchcraft. It literally translates to witchcraft. And that's all this whole industry is just witchcraft. Guarantee you this was an Edomite too. Shit. Let's look him up, see if we can get an image. Get an image of the devil himself. Look at him. German American. German, the wise men of Teman. Carl Christian Friedrich Pfizer. He was a businessman, German-American businessman and chemist. Found it with his cousin. Wow. Yeah, these devils, man. Yep, these are the people who the Lord hates. Hey, the scriptures don't lie, man. The Lord hate these people, and now we see why he hate them. Look at what they do. Look how they destroy the earth. Look how they destroy people. How they destroy everything that God made. They take it and corrupt it. That's why the Lord about to put them down, man. So I pray this was edifying. Giving all praises, glory and honor once more to Yahweh Shem Yahushua.